Hello friends, welcome to class of transportation engineering. So we are done with the highway geometric design, the complete topic, and we have covered all the chapters under it. Uh, we have also covered the numericals based on all the chapters. So in this lecture, as I have discussed earlier, we will be quickly going through all the formulae because in GATE it is important to remember formulae, and because the questions are based on as numericals. Okay, so it becomes mandatory to focus more on numericals and less on the theory part. Okay guys, so we will quickly go through the formulae chapter wise, and I hope you are here with your notebooks, okay, the class notes. So starting with chapter number 1, in this chapter we discussed about the history of highway construction, the highway development, and the first thing that we discussed about the road development. You should remember the four names, that is the Resgate construction, Metcalfe construction, Telford construction, and the Macadam construction. These four names are important in this sequence. Next important point is the Jaker committee that was set up in 1927, and you should be in position to tell the recommendations of Jaker committee, that is road development should be a national interest. The Central Road Fund, the semi-official body was recommended, that was Indian Road Congress, and the research organization for the roads, that was CRRI in Delhi. Okay, so these are the so this is what you should remember from the Jaker committee. Okay, you should have you should know the recommendations of Jaker committee. So next thing what we discussed was the first 20-year road plan. That is the road plans we discussed, the road development plans. Okay, you should know the recommendations of the road development plans and what was done, what were the targets set, and the years of the road development plans. Okay, a theoretical question, small theoretical question can be asked based on this. Usually a 1 mark question. Later on, what we discussed was the programs by National Highway Authority of India, that is NHDP, the National Highway Development Program, and NRRDA, National Rural Road Development Authority. Okay, you should be aware of PMGSY, that is the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Okay, so these things are like of little importance from GATE point of view, but it is always good to know these things. Okay, just as part of general knowledge, or since we are taking up this course. Okay, so very important thing from GATE point of view that you should know is the concept of maximum utility. Okay, and you should be in position to solve a numerical based on concept of maximum utility. The numerical was based on numerical was of the kind that there were four options of the road given, joining the same place. Suppose there are two places and there will be four options of the roads. Okay, say PQRS, they exactly the same question, and they will give you the villages and the population of the villages, the number of villages and the population of the villages joining these roads. Okay, that come into these roads. Okay, and they will also give the values of the industrial product, and we used a very simple formula uh, that we just checked that what is the maximum utility of each of the roads, and we decided the priority of the road. So the maximum utility was based on the the road having the utility by maximum number of people, and the maximum industrial product was given the priority. Okay, so that was a very simple question. Okay guys, so you should be in position to solve it. Okay, afterwards we went on to chapter number 2, that is the highway alignment. Okay, that is the highway alignment and surveys. Highway alignment and surveys. In this chapter, what we discussed was mainly the fixing of center line of the road, that is the highway alignment. We discussed the definition of it, and we discussed various types of the engineering surveys that are required, that is the map study, the reconnaissance survey, the preliminary survey, and the final location and the detailed survey. You should know what does each of these mean. Okay, and afterwards we discussed two drawings, the key maps and the index maps, and you should also know the uh, meaning of these two. Okay, afterwards we moved on to chapter 3. In this, what we discussed was, this is from where we started with the highway geometry design. Okay, highway geometry design, and the first chapter that we covered was the basic elements in highway geometry design. Okay, basic elements in highway geometry design. First thing was we discussed was the design speed. Okay, you should know the design speed. What does it mean? Then we discussed the typical highway cross section. We discussed right of the way. We discussed building line and the control line. You should know just meanings of these. Okay, you really like you will. There will be no descriptive question on this, but you should know the meanings of this. Okay, we discussed friction, the coefficient of longitudinal friction and the coefficient of lateral friction. Okay, and later on we went on to discuss the camber and the gradient in the chapter number 4, though I covered it in chapter 2 itself, the camber and the gradient. Okay, camber and the gradient, and this is the chapter from which our numerical portion starts. Okay, numericals. Okay, so the first relationship that we discussed, okay, was about the camber, the cross slope. Okay, camber or the cross slope. Camber or the cross slope. I am drawing the cross section of the road. So this is the cross slope, that is the camber. Okay, and the formula that we discussed was that whenever it is a straight line camber, the first type we discussed, that it is given as the slope is given as in ratio, that is 1 in n. Okay, you should know what is n and what is n. So this is, if this is 1, the vertical one, and the 1 vertical to n horizontal basically it is. Okay, the next is the parabolic camber. The formula for parabolic camber is y equal to twice of x square upon nw. Y equal to twice of x square upon nw. Here I am drawing the parabolic camber like this, and we measure it like this. Okay, x is measured like this and y is measured like this. So this is the formula, and you should apply it in this way. For this, the parabolic camber, y equal to 2x square upon nw, and you know the meaning of what is n, what is w. Okay, and before that, what should you should keep in mind, the table for the cambers. That is, the type of road is given here. The type of road is given. The column 1 is type of the road. Second one is the rainfalls. Okay, rainfalls, that is the high rainfall and the low rainfall region. Okay, and the type of road in the descending order, that is the uh, CC road or high quality bitumen road. High quality bitumen road. Second comes is the thin bitumen road. Roads are okay. Third is the WBM and the gravel or the gravel road, and fourth one is the earthen road. Okay, in this, what was given, that if the rains are high, if the rains are low, then 1 in 60, the camber should be 1 in 60. In high rains, it should be high rains region, it should be 1 in 50. This again 1 in 50 comes over here, and here it comes 1 in 40. 1 in 40 comes over here, 1 in 40, and here comes 1 in 33, not 30. Okay guys, and here again 1 in 33, and here it comes 1 in 25. So you should be on tip of your, this table should be on tip of your tongue. Okay guys, it will be really very helpful in solving the questions based on the camber. In fact, there might be a direct question asked to you, that this is the type of the road and it is a cement concrete road and it is the low rainfall region. What should be the slope provided to the camber? Very simple and a very straightforward question and very straightforward answer to it. Next thing we discussed was the width of the carriageway. Width of carriageway. Okay, width of carriageway. So you should know what is carriageway, and you should remember, you should know that the width of carriageway is 3.5 meter per lane, but with 3 exceptions. Exception number 1, exception number 2, and exception number 3. The first exception was if the road is single lane road, if the lane is 2-lane road with raised curbs, and the third exception was the intermediate carriageway. Okay, intermediate carriageway. So you should know this. Okay, the width of 1 mark question can be asked based on this. Then we discuss the gradients and the types of gradients. Okay, we discussed the ruling gradient or the design gradient, the limiting gradient we discussed, the exceptional gradient we discussed, and the minimum gradient. You should know what you should know. is just the what does these all four mean. Okay, nothing more than that. It is not much required. Maybe a theory question can be asked for one marks. Okay, so the next thing that we discussed was grade compensation. That is very important. We discussed two formulas for grade compensation given by IRC. Formula number one for grade compensation is 30 plus R by R, and the second formula is for grade compensation is 75 by R, where R is radius of the road, sorry, radius of curve in meters. Okay, radius of curve in meters. Okay, and the grade compensation to be provided whichever is less. Okay, whichever is less, and the norms were grade compensation should not be greater than sorry, grade compensation should not be given to gradients less than 4%. Okay, the first norm was grade compensation should not be given to gradients less than 4%, and the next that was with next concept was the compensated gradient. Okay, the compensated compensated gradient. Okay, and that should be the that is given as grade compensation, sorry, the actual gradient minus the grade compensation. Okay guys, and the norm for this was the compensated gradient should not be less than 4%. Okay, the compensated gradient should not be less than 4%. So in this chapter, in this concept, we were revolving around this 4%. Okay, so it is very easy to remember the 4%. Okay, so let's move on to the next chapter. That is, we discussed the side distances in highway geometry design. The side distances. Okay, and in this, the first thing that we discussed was SSD. And what you should remember about SSD, that SSD has got SSD is equal to, it is given by Vt plus V square upon 2GF. Okay, this is the basic formula for SSD, the stopping side distance. Okay, and no one is going to ask you what is SSD and describe SSD and write the meaning of SSD. Okay, this is a very good example, very good numerical question can be asked on SSD, and so that they will be asking you the uh, numerical question itself. Okay, and you should be able to modify this formula for the gradient. So for if the gradient is involved, sorry, first you should be able to modify this formula for the braking efficiency. So Vt plus V square upon 2GF eta. So where this is the braking efficiency. Okay, the braking efficiency, and you should know the meaning of everything. V is small v, it is the design speed in meter per second. Okay, so guys, remember that if it is a capital V, then it is speed in kilometer per hour. If it is a small v, it is speed in meters per second. Okay, t is the reaction time. By IRC, the value of t is 2.5 seconds. That is what you should remember. Okay, v we already discussed. G is known to you, that 9.81 meters per second, and f is the coefficient of longitudinal friction. Okay, coefficient of longitudinal friction, and that is what. Okay, you should be able to take into account this, the braking efficiency, and also you should be able to modify this same formula for the gradients, that SSD is equal to V square upon 2GF plus minus N, the gradient in ratio, and both together if accounted, then it should be Vt plus V square upon 2G eta F plus minus N. Use plus when the rising gradient, use minus when it is the falling gradient. Okay guys, then we discussed the safe side distance. Okay, then what we discussed was the safe SSD, in which we discussed the three cases, that is the single lane one-way road, single lane and one-way road. Next case we discussed was single lane and two-way road, and the third case that we discussed was two lane and two-way road. Okay, so when it was single lane one-way road, SSD, safe SSD was equal to SSD itself, single lane two-way road in that safe SSD was equal to twice of SSD, okay, and in two lane two-way road safe SSD was equal to SSD itself. Okay guys, I have already explained that how it comes along with very good diagrams, so I need not tell it to you again. Please refer your notes if you really don't know, and it is really an important concept, a very important concept. And this is what is the intermediate side distance. Okay, here we also discuss what is the intermediate side distance, that the two, if SSD is one is the vehicle and the another is the obstruction, the non-moving obstruction, but in intermediate side distance there are two vehicles on each of the sides. Then to stop, this needs SSD for its own, and this also needs the SSD. That is why this is the ISD, intermediate side distance between the two vehicles, that is given by twice of SSD. So in this way we are done with SSD as well as the ISD. Okay, next thing that we discussed was the vehicle skid on road. And in case of vehicle skid, you cannot use the SSD formula that we discussed. Okay, SSD formula not valid. So what you should do is you should go for using the linear equations of motion, that is v equal to u plus at, s equal to ut plus half at square, and third was v square equal to u square plus twice of as. You should remember these three formulae and you should use them in solving the questions based on the vehicle skid. Next thing that we discussed was the relationship between the coefficient of longitudinal friction and the retardation. Okay, retardation, that is A, and coefficient of longitudinal friction, the relationship was, the coefficient of longitudinal friction was A by G. Very important relationship that will be asked as part of a 2-mark question. Okay, and in this way we completed with SSD, the stopping side distance, and we moved on to discuss the overtaking side distance after completing the numericals based on SSD. Okay, so guys, this is the way that you should be able to do a quick recap and almost on daily basis. Like what you should do is that you should study the subject carefully, thoroughly once, okay, once or twice. Practice as much as numericals you can, and then afterwards don't touch it. Before 1 or 2 months of GATE exam, what you should do is you should just go and have quick recap of all the formulae. Then you should not touch any of your books. What you should touch is you should go and touch your formula book, and based on this formula you should be in position to remember all the concepts, all the formulae. Okay, just based on the formula book. And that revision should be just of, suppose you want to revise one subject, it should be just a half an hour revision of one complete subject. Okay, because you have got many subjects to study in here. Next thing what we discussed was the overtaking side distance, the OSD, and OSD was given as T1 plus T2 plus T3, where T1 is equal to VB into T, small vb into T, and where VB is the speed of slow moving vehicle in meters per second, and T is the reaction time of the driver as per IRC, that is equal to 2 seconds. Okay, for OSD. Okay, 2 seconds, reaction time is 2 seconds for OSD. Next is D2. D2 is given as S1 plus small vb into capital T plus S2, where S1 and S2 if not given are to be taken as S1 and S2, if not given in the question, should be taken as 0.7 into small vb plus L, where L is length of rigid wheelbase, length of rigid wheelbase. Okay, rigid wheelbase. So where the, suppose this is a vehicle, okay guys, and length of rigid wheelbase, this is the distance L. Okay, and as per IRC it is 6.1 meters. So this is what is length of rigid wheelbase. Okay, and VB, if it is not given in the question, you should take the value of VB equal to small v minus 0.44. This is VB that should be considered in meters per second, and capital VB will be given as capital V minus 16. It is in kilometers per second. Okay, just understand that when it is V, the only v, then it is the design speed, and it is small vb, which is the speed of the slow moving vehicle. The slow moving vehicle has got speed that is less than that of the design speed. Okay, and small v stands for meters per second, speed in meters per second, and capital V stands for speed in kilometers per second. Okay, yes, and we were here. Okay, we were at D2 and we were discussing if S1 and S2 are not given, and yes, and out of this VB we discussed, if not given use this value, if given use the given value. Okay, it is the speed of the slow moving vehicle, and T in this formula, T is given as capital T, that is the time of acceleration, the time of acceleration it is, and it is given as twice of S1 plus S2 by A, where A is the acceleration of the vehicle, okay, the vehicle that is overtaking, okay, and T is the acceleration, and twice of S1 plus S2. Okay, next thing was that D3. So in place of D3, D3 is given as small v into capital T. Okay, small v into capital T, where small v, you know, it is the design speed, and T is the period of acceleration, or also called the acceleration time. And you should, you know, for clarity, if you remember this diagram where diagram of a two-lane road, and where there is a vehicle A over here, vehicle A1 here, the same vehicle but it is with different at different position, vehicle B1, here it is A2, position A2, and here it is C2, and here it is C1. Okay, if you remember this, if you remember this diagram, then it will be really very easy. This distance, okay, this distance is the B1. This complete distance from here to here, D1 to A1 to A2, it is the D2 distance. Okay, and this distance is the D3 distance. Okay, and D2 distance, in D2 distance it is S1, this one is small b, and this one is S2. Okay, if you remember this diagram and if you understand the meanings of this, all this, then it is really very simple and an easy overtaking side distance problem. Okay, otherwise it is not. Please understand that vehicle A moves from this place to this place with the speed of the slow moving vehicle, okay, for distance d1. Hence it is given as the reaction time of reaction time of driver A into VB, because it has to move behind vehicle B with the slow speed of vehicle B, that is VB. That's why d1 equal to VBT. d2, it is the distance S1 plus B plus S2, and in this case what happens, that this vehicle A starts from here, it comes out like this, takes the lane of the vehicle that is coming from the front side, accelerates to overtake B, again goes and merges at its place, that is the place A2. Okay, so this distance is, it is just for coming out and getting in. Okay, so this distance S2 is for just coming out and getting in, so that's why it is based on this formula. And this distance B, it should be the acceleration time, and this distance, it is the distance covered by vehicle B during the acceleration time with its own speed, that is the speed of the slow moving vehicle. That is why it is given as VB into small t, VB into capital T. Okay, and this is T3, it is the vehicle that is coming from the front side, okay, that is coming from this side. So it should be ensured that the vehicle that is D3 during this time, during this acceleration period, okay, because for this period we are using the lane of this, the vehicle that is coming from the front side. That's why you should take care that uh, it is at a distance far away, and that is it is at distance D3 from this distance. Okay, so in this way we completed the OSD, and we also solved the numerical questions based on it. So afterwards, what we went on to discuss was the safe OSD problem. So safe OSD relationships, and where the first case was one way and I'll say single lane and one way. Single lane one way. Overtaking is not allowed. Overtaking is not allowed in this. Secondly, what we discussed was sing two lane, two lane and one way. Okay. In this case, what will happen is that the lane is of two lane road, so the vehicles are moving all like this in only one direction. Okay, only in one direction. So if this vehicle wants to overtake this vehicle, suppose this is a slow moving vehicle, I say B, and vehicle A, that is fast moving vehicle, wants to overtake B, then it will come like this, go like this, overtake it and again merge. There is no problem even if it comes into this lane, because there is no vehicle coming from the front side. Okay, and the third thing was the two lane two-way road. Two lane and two-way road. In this case, the vehicles are moving like this. This is vehicle A, this is vehicle B. If A wants to overtake B, it has to come out into the lane of the vehicles that are coming from the front side. Okay, so this is vehicle C that will be obstructed because of vehicle A, so that we need to consider distance D3, the additional distance D3. Okay, so in case of two lane one way road, the OSD, safe OSD here, safe OSD is given as D1 plus D2 only, since there is no vehicle coming from the front side. And in case of two lane two way road, safe OSD is given as D1 plus D2 plus D3. Okay. So I hope it is clear to you. And the next was the case of the four lane road. The four lane road, and safe SSD, safe OSD is equal to again D1 plus D3. Okay. After this, we discuss the overtaking zones, and overtaking zones should be provided on the one way, the single lane roads. Overtaking zones needs to be provided on single lane roads, and it is given as minimum length of overtaking zones is equal to 3 into safe SSD. Okay, and the desirable length desirable length of OT zone is given as 5 into safe OSD. Guys, I'm extremely sorry. Okay, I'm again and again saying SSD. It is OSD. Okay, guys. Okay, so let's move ahead. And afterwards, we covered the numericals based on it. Okay, so the next topic that we discussed was the horizontal curves, and that was chapter number 7. Chapter number 7, the horizontal curves. Horizontal curves. In this topic, we discussed impact factor that is given as P by W equal to V square upon GR. P by W that is given as V square upon GR, and we went on to discuss the relationship where if P by case 1 was that if P by W is not greater than B by 2H and it's also not greater than F, then it is safe against, this says that safe against OT, and this says that safe against skid. So as a whole, the vehicle is safe. Okay, case 2 was P by W is greater than B by 2H and it's not greater than the F. So here the overturning occurs. Okay, overturning occurs. The case 3 was that P by W is not greater than B by 2H but is greater than F. Then in this case, lateral skid occurs. Lateral skid occurs. Okay, lateral skid occurs. And the case 4 that we discussed, case 4 was P by W is greater than B by 2H and also it is greater than F. Then you can't decide you need some additional condition. You need some additional condition where, like, you should know some additional information, that is b by 2h is greater than f, then skids first and then overturns. Skids first and then overturns. And if f is greater than b by 2h, then overturns first, and you cannot say that then it skids, because there cannot be any skidding after overturning. So I'll explain you this. It is very simple. P by W values, we know that it is given as V square upon GR, and P we know width of the vehicle, H you know the height of the CG of the vehicle from the pavement surface, and based on these two, and F is the coefficient of lateral friction, and based on these two ratios, the relationship between these relationships, we decide uh, whether the vehicle is safe on the horizontal curve or not. Okay, so these are the conditions given, and this is the action. Okay, P by W represents an action, and B by 2H and the frictional force F represents the resistance to overturning. Okay, so it depends. See now, P by W is less than these two, that means the vehicle is safe. P by W, the action, is less than the resisting forces. Sorry, it is greater than this B by 2H, that means it overturns, because the resistance is less. Okay, and here it is less than the skidding resistance. That's why, sorry, here it is greater than, P by W is greater than the F, that is the skid has to occur. Okay, lateral skid, because it is greater than the skidding resistance, and here it is greater in both the terms. Okay, greater than this both, the overturning as well as the skidding. That is the reason. Uh, in this case, what happens? It is unsafe first of all, and what happens is that since the resistance against skid is less than the resistance against overturning, the skid occurs. Okay, and then it overturns. First it skids and then overturns. And in this case, resistance against overturning is less than the resistance against skidding. That is the reason it overturns first. Okay, but after overturning there cannot be any skidding, because the vehicle is not on the wheels, so we don't say that it skids. We say that no comments afterwards. Okay, whatever happens with the vehicle. Okay, so after this we discuss the super elevation. The general formula for super elevation is E plus F equal to V square upon GR, V square upon GR. And then we discuss the equilibrium super elevation. Equilibrium super elevation, in this the F value, the F value is equal to 0, and for equilibrium super elevation, E plus F value is 0, equal to, the formula modifies like this, V square upon GR. Okay, so we moved on to discuss the design super elevation. Design super elevation. Okay, design super elevation. And in this case, the step 1 was that consider the two cases, that is, you should consider the equilibrium super elevation. Consider equilibrium super elevation, and second is consider the mixed traffic condition. Okay, mixed traffic condition. So the formula was modified. This is the general formula, E plus F equal to V square upon GR. So E plus F equal to 0.75 V square upon GR, that is the, this is the mixed traffic condition, 0.75, and F should be 0 since it is the equilibrium super elevation. Okay, here you will get the E calculated. Okay, E calculated, and if it is greater than E max, if it is less than E max, provide E calculated. If it is greater than E max, then limit it to E max and go to step 2, and go to step 2. In step 2, what we do is that in step 2 we use E equal to E max and full design speed. Okay, full design speed, and here the formula gets modified to E max plus F equal to V square upon GR, and we get the value for F equal to what? Okay, and we check that this should not be greater than 0.15. If f is less than 0.15, less than 0.15, less than or equal to 0.15, then it is safe, and you can provide E equal to Emax. E equal to Emax. Okay, that is providing Emax is a safe thing to do. Okay, but if f is greater than 0.15, then provide E equal to Emax and go to step 3. Go to step 3. Okay, so what we discussed was like this. Step 3 was to put E equal to set E equal to Emax and f equal to fmax, that is usually equal to 0.15. Okay, and put it in the formula like Emax plus fmax has got value 0.15 equal to v square upon gr. So this is, and find here, like you write it like this: Emax equal to E equal to Emax, f equal to fmax, and find v limit, that is the limiting velocity. Okay, so using these two values, these two are known, this is known, r is known, you get v equal to some value. Okay, whatever the value you get, suppose you get, that will be the limiting value for the speed on the on that particular road. So please write down here v limit. Okay, v limit, you get the limiting value, and say you got some value like 70 kilometer per hour, you will get in meters per second, but you get it as 70 kilometer per hour. You go and you put up a word that the maximum speed allowed is 70 kilometer per hour or something like that. Okay, next we discussed was the ruling minimum radius and the absolute minimum radius. In finding the ruling minimum radius, what we need to do is, in the general formula of super elevation, is in this place you put the ruling design speed. Okay, ruling design speed, and if it is the absolute minimum radius is asked, then in this place of v, what you should put is the minimum design speed. The minimum design speed. Okay. Okay. Then we moved on to the next chapter, and then in extra widening. Okay, extra widening, what we discussed was the two formulae. That is, or we can write that extra widening is given as NL square upon 2R plus capital V. Remember that it is capital V upon 9.5 root R. Okay, this is the formula for extra widening, where this is mechanical widening and this one is the psychological widening. Okay, so it is very straightforward, and you should know what is off tracking. Off tracking is given as, put n equal to 1 over here, so that off tracking you get, it is, off tracking is when mechanical widening with for single lane road. Okay, so it is given as L square upon 2R simply. That is what off tracking is. Okay, then we discussed the curve resistance. Curve resistance, that is given as CR equal to P minus P cos theta, that is the loss of engine power or the tractive force, that is simply the curve resistance. Okay, and next what we discussed was the setback distance. Setback distance, that is, here there are a bit of formulae. Setback distance. Okay, so there are cases in setback distance. So case 1 is the setback distances for single lane roads, and in this there is a case 1 again. In the single lane road, under the case 1 is length of the curve is greater than the length of the safe stopping side distance or the safe side distance, and or the minimum required side distance. And the case 2 is that case 2 is length of the curve is less than the minimum required side distance. Here it is greater than equal to. Okay, and the second case is that for multi-lane roads. Okay, multi-lane roads. Okay, multi-lane roads. Again, there are the same cases I have repeated. Length of the curve is greater than equal to the required side distance, and second case is that length of the curve is less than the required side distance. So in this case, the formula is pretty simple. That is the formula of Mersenne itself. That is m equal to r minus r cos of alpha by 2, where alpha is given as s by r. Okay, s by r. while finding out the alpha, it is in radians. Okay, you need to convert it into degrees. So s by r, while finding this alpha arc upon the radius, you should always consider the smaller one, and logically you will understand, if you go through the derivations carefully, you will understand why this is only, because that is only the curve that we are deriving for. Okay, and the second formula is also pretty simple. M equal to r minus r cos of alpha by 2 plus some additional things are given, that is s minus l by 2 cos of, sorry, sine of alpha by 2 again, and where alpha is given as L by R into 180 by pi. Okay, so see this again, this L is smaller of this. Okay, here it was S, the smaller one, while finding the alpha, and here it is the L, the smaller of S and L. Okay, also you can remember this formula in this sense, that here whether S minus L or L minus S, since S is greater than L, you should use S minus L, because it should be a positive one. Okay, and moving on to the multi-lane roads. In case of multi-lane roads, what happens that uh, side distance, the required side distance is problem for the vehicle that is moving on the inner lane. Okay, but M, that is the setback distance, is measured from the center line of the road. Okay, so this is for the vehicle that is moving on the inner lane, but M is measured from the center line of the entire road. So to explain you, suppose this is your road, and there are two lanes on each of either sides of the median. Okay, so the SSD is problem, the minimum side distance is the problem for the vehicle that is moving over here, because the driver watches like this, but there may be a building like this, so we need to restrict the location of this building. Okay, so for this we need to have a term more, a variable more, that is t, which is the distance between the center line of the entire road, this one, and the center line of the inner lane, that is what d is. So this will help us in formulating the modifying this formula with respect to the inner lane. Okay, and how that can be done, we are going to see it right over here. Okay, so M in this case will be this formula. Okay, this formula needs to be edited, the modified r minus d cos of alpha by 2, and alpha will be given as s upon r minus d into 180 by pi. Okay, in degrees. So this is the simple modification, and we have already derived how this comes. Okay, it is all because the radius, this radius is measured, up till the center line of the entire road, and in case 2, this formula will be modified to M equal to r minus d cos of alpha by 2 plus s minus l by 2 sine of alpha by 2, where alpha is equal to mm, alpha will be given as L upon r minus d into 180 by pi. Okay, here L I am considering because the smaller one we have to take as per our rule from the thumb rule. Here also the smaller one is S, so I have taken S over here. R minus D because it is for the inner lane. Okay, so this is the way how we should proceed. Okay, so after this what we discussed was the transition curve. Before going to transition curves, notice that M is the distance that is always measured from the center line of the entire road. Okay, so accordingly you have to use the formula as they are asked. Okay, so the transition curves now. So length of transition curve is designed based on these three criterions: centrifugal or the comfort criteria, second one is the super elevation criteria, and the third one is the empirical formula given by IRC. The centrifugal criterion, that is, according to this, the length of the transition curve required is given based on the rate of change of centrifugal acceleration. In this case, the length of transition curve is given based on the rate of introduction of super elevation, and the length of the transition curve is given based on the minimum length required by the empirical formula given by IRC. So that the rate of change of centrifugal acceleration or the radial acceleration C is given by 80 upon 75 plus V. Okay, 80 upon 75 plus V, where this is V is the capital V, it is in kilometers per hour. Okay, kilometers per hour, and this value should be between, value of C should be between 0.5 to zero point 0.8. Okay, and according to this, the uh, length of transition curve is given as V cube upon CR. V cube upon CR, where here it is a small v. Okay, and so you get one length, and according to super elevation criteria, 1 in n. Okay, 1 in n, it is the rate of introduction of super elevation. Please write down the rate of introduction of super elevation, and the formula is given as ls equal to length of the transition curve equal to n w plus we into small e. Okay, if rotation about the inner or outer edge, that is for rotation about inner or outer edge. Okay, inner or outer edge. Okay, so the next formula is given that ls equal to n upon w plus we e by 2 if rotation above is about the center line of the road. Okay, center line of the road. You see that the length of the super elevation and length of the transition curve to be provided becomes exactly half of the length that is required if it is rotated about the inner or the outer edge. Okay, please remember this formula, where w is the width of the road, we is the extra widening, small e is the super elevation. So that in this way, these are uh, all have got the standard, all notations have got their usual meanings. Okay, and as per IRC, this n value is equal to 150 in plain or rolling terrains, plain and rolling terrains, and n equal to 60 in hilly roads, hill roads. Okay, okay, so we are done with the two criterions, and now we will discuss the third criteria, that is the empirical formula, and it is given as length of the transition curve ls equal to 2.7 capital V square upon r for plain and rolling terrains. Okay, plain and rolling terrains, and length of the transition curve is given as ls equal to v square upon r. Just drop down this 2.7. Okay, drop down this 2.7 to come to this formula in the hilly or mountainous terrains. Okay, hilly or mountainous terrains. So using this, you get the three values for length of the transition curve. This is the first one. Here you get the second value, okay, from the second criteria, and here you get the third value from this third criteria. So out of these three values, whichever the value is greater, that is the length of the transition curve to be provided as per the design. Okay, then we went on to discuss the vertical curves, and where we learned to find out the angle of deflection very first, like this, and if it is like this, then n is the angle of deflection. Suppose it is plus n, since it is uh, rising one, and it is minus n2 since it is falling. So n, the deflection angle, is given as n1 minus of minus n2. Okay, so it is algebraically you have to take care of these signs. Okay, uh, so for summit curves, okay, for summit curves, side distance is the design criteria. Okay, and again there are two cases here also. Case 1 is the length of the curve is greater than equal to s, and case 2 is length of the curve is less than the s value. For this, the length of the summit curve is given as L equal to ns square upon under root of 2h plus 2h bracket whole square, and here L equal to 2s minus 2h plus 2 under root of 2h bracket whole square upon n. Okay, and you need to find out your own trick to remember this formula. Okay guys, similarly this was a case if the situation was there is a vehicle like this, okay, and there is an obstacle over here, okay, then this was the valid formula. But instead of this obstacle there would have been another vehicle, okay, then S would have been the ISD, the intermediate side distance, that is equal to twice of SSD, and that time H stands for, the small h stands for 0.15 meter as per IRC, the height of the obstruction. But since there is another vehicle here now, the case 2, if that was case 2, then just replace this h by capital H. It will again have the height h equal to 1.2 meters as per the IRC, the height of the eyes of the driver from the road surface. Okay. Similar is the case in this formula. Let us now discuss the valley curves. The valley curves. There are two design criterions. The first one is the comfort criteria. Okay, and according to this, length of the valley curve is given as twice of Ls equal to twice of under root of NV cube by C, where C is 0.61 meters per second cube unlike we discussed the for C was given by 80 upon 75 plus V in case of transition curves. But here this formula is not valid. Here there is a fixed value for C, which is rate of change of centrifugal acceleration. Okay, and the second formula, okay, second criteria is based headlight side distance. Headlight side distance. Okay, headlight side distance. So it is problem only during the night time. Okay. During daytime, all kinds of side distances is not a problem, and headlight side distance is given by SSD itself. So there are again two cases. The case 1, L is greater than equal to S, which is equal to HSD, and HSD is equal to SSD again. So in this case the formula is length of the valley curve is given as ns square upon 2h1 plus 2s tan of alpha, and the case 2 is length is less than the side distance, and the formula is L equal to 2s minus twice of h1 plus 2s tan of alpha upon capital N. Okay, where alpha and h1 I should tell you, suppose this is a vehicle like this, okay, then this is the headlight, okay, this is the headlight, and this is h1, okay, the small h1 is this, which is equal to 0.75 meters by IRC, okay, the height of the headlight from the pavement surface, and it is set upwards by the manufacturer in this way. So alpha value is equal to 1 degree. They step out upwards by the manufacturer by 1 degree. So you know all the values over here, and you need to substitute the formula, and you get the lengths of the valley curves according to these two criteria. So in this way we are done with the recap session. Guys, please understand that one question is bound to come from the highway geometry design in the GATE examination. Every year it comes. It is asked for 2 to 3 marks every year. So you should know all these formulae. So what I would suggest you is that you study this topic twice or thrice thoroughly, so that you have got no doubts left now. You have got sufficient time for the GATE examination. And what you do, that you write all these formulae in a formula book. Okay. So before GATE examination, you need not go through your regular class notes, okay, because before GATE examination in the last month you have got lot many subjects to study and there is such a small time left. So that time the revision should be only from the formula book, okay. So such that to revise one complete subject you need only half an hour or the 1 hour, okay. So just look at the formula during the revision and try to remember the concepts, okay. So we are done for today, done for this lecture. See you in the next lecture, guys. Thank you so much.